Welcome to our session today. I am your instructor, CPA Ringo Frederick. Today's class, Mwalimu is very excited because the CPA results have been released. And how will you feel as Mwalimu knowing that 95% of your students have passed the exams? Wow, it is a very, very great feeling. So congratulations to you guys who did your exams. So in our class today, my good students, I want us to handle a very important concept which majority of you have been requesting Mwalimu to handle this concept. That is financial management loan amortization schedule, reducing balance basis. So what Mwalimu will want to handle today is loan amortization. Loan amortization. The concept is of reducing balance. Majority of you have been asking a lot about this concept, and I want to show you guys today that this is a very simple concept that if at all you were able to understand the previous concept of loan amortization, in this case you'll find that you won't be having a challenge on this concept of reducing balance basis. But there we don't have much different compared to what we've been doing earlier on in regard to the normal reducing balance, or rather normal loan amortization. What you need to master here is that you need to understand that anytime you're handling the concept of loan amortization, you should be able to know that these concepts falls under which category. You'll find that this concept will fall under the time value of money. It will always be upon us basically to determine the amount, or rather the value of this money, either currently, which is present, or in future. So you'll find that the concept of time value of money basically will fall under the time value of money. And specifically, where under the time value of money? You'll find that at this point, because recall that time value of money, we normally tend to talk of two: the future value and the present value. This time round, you'll find that the loan amortization schedule will fall under the present value concept. Present value, simply, we just want to determine, in this case, the aspect of given future, or rather given a figure in future. How much is that amount worth today? How much is that amount worth today? That is the present value. And specifically, we'll be talking of annuity. Why? We are talking of annuity, my good students, because you'll find that when we are looking at a loan amortization, I'll be looking at a constant periodic payment throughout the period, which we normally refer to it as what? As installment. So I'm looking at a constant equal periodic payment over a given period of time. That's the concept of annuity. That's the concept of annuity. And for annuity, always recall, if we are to determine our present value in annuity, we should always be talking of the future value, should be having it, times our present value, interest factor annuity, given the rate and number of years. Right? These are what we should always be having. Where at this point, key element, it will be upon us to determine our present value, interest factor annuity, given the rate and number of years, where here you can either use your calculator or you can use the formula that Mwalimu had shared with us earlier on. This formula basically, we normally tend to talk of 1 minus 1 plus r raised to power negative n divided by r, where r is the rate and n is the number of period. So you'll find that once you're able to master this concept, handling loan amortization will be quite easy, because many a times for loan amortization will always be given the loan value, loan amount, which ideally loan amount is simply the present value that you're having today. Then I'll always be given the rate. Of course, this is what? A rate, this is a rate, this is an interest rate, which ideally we're looking at it as R. And for us to determine the future value, in this case for loan, is that installment amount that you are paying, the aspect of installment amount that we'll be paying, the installment amount. So you'll find that the whole concept of a loan amortization, basically, it has been derived from the concept of present value annuity. Present value annuity. So to demonstrate this concept clearly, because what I've just said here is just a repetition. So to demonstrate this concept clearly, and we'll be looking at a reducing balance concept, I want us to have this question of ours here. These are questions that I want us to share so that we can look at this concept clearly. This is a question. I've shared it on the screen down there, which I believe is very visible. What are we told? You are told that Ngamwaya Chemicali, I know when you hear Ngamwaya Chemicali, I know what is ringing at the back of your mind, right? So at this point, you're told that Ngamwaya Chemicali borrowed 80,000 from Umoja Commercial Bank at an interest rate of 1.25% compounded monthly. The loan is to be amortized using the reducing balance method and be repaid in 12 equal monthly installments payable at the end of each month. We are required to prepare a loan amortization schedule. We are required to prepare a loan amortization schedule. So in this question of ours, my good students, where are we going to start from? Basically, you just follow the same procedure that Molimo has shared with us here, where we say that the first thing that we need to do, I'm just going to squeeze this question, then put it down here. I believe it will still be visible. I believe it's still visible. So what you are going to do here, my good students, first of all, to establish, having this in mind, it will be upon us, first of all, to establish the amount that this person will be paying as installment, right? So how will you go about it? I'm just going to use the same model that we have worked out here. And in this case, basically, we will be having, these are what we will be having. I need to determine the amount that this person will be paying. So first of all, establish the loan amount. Loan amount, clearly we can see we are given a figure of 80,000, right? Interest, my good students, you can clearly see you're given what? 1.25%. Period, which is N, I'm given 12. What about our future value, which is amount, which is installment amount? In this case, we don't have. So once we have this in mind, it will be very important for us to recall what we just said right now, where for us to have our future value, basically, we will be talking of our present value. So we will be talking of our future value. We multiply by present value interest factor annuity given the rate and number of years. And clearly here we can see that my present value, which we say that is the same as this loan amount, I'm having my loan amount, which is 80,000, which would be equal to FV. FV, we say that it is what? It is our installment amount. Installment amount I don't have, so I can take it as A, times my present value interest factor annuity given what? Given 1.25%, and I'm given 12, right? So can we establish this factor, my good students? I know we can establish this factor easily. You can either use the shortcut that Molimo gave us with the formula, or you can go directly to your table. So if I told you to use our formula, my present value interest factor annuity given 1.25%, and you're given 12, in this case, we should establish it in a manner whereby I'm going to talk of 1, right, minus into 1 plus 0.0125. We are going to divide this one by 0.0125. I should not forget to input negative period, which is negative n, which is 12, right? So having this case, we can now establish our factor, which in this case, my factor will be, I'm going to take my calculator. We have 1.0125 raised to power negative 12. 1 minus answer, divide by 0.0125. In this case, my good students, I'm getting into 4 decimal places. I'm having 11.0793. We have established our factor, present value interest factor, right? Now, after we have established our present value interest factor, the next question will be, my main concept here is to determine this A. I can confidently come and erase this one here. I can erase this one because we have established that, and we said that that factor, we have gotten it to be 11.0793. So what is my A value here? Our A value now will be simple because I'll make A the subject of this formula of ours. So my A will be, as if we are talking of 80,000, we are going to divide 11.0793, which in this case will give us a figure of how much? The installment that I'll be paying on an installment basis. 80,000, I'm going to divide by 11.0793, which in this case will give us how much? I'm getting 7,220.67. So I can take 721. This is the figure that Mwalimu is establishing as the installment that we'll be paying periodically. Periodic payment I'll be having the 7,221. Now, why Mwalimu was saying that we don't have much different where the examiner has specified reducing balance or not, whenever we are talking of loan amortization, this is the reason why Mwalimu is saying like that. Let us prepare that loan amortization schedule. You see, I'll be having this figure somewhere, 7,221. Preparing our loan amortization schedule, in this case, because you have this question, I can just squeeze it down or remove it completely so that it can give us space for us to prepare our loan amortization schedule, right? You'll find that this concept basically is always very, very easy once you've opened your mind wide and you've understood some of the basic concepts. You'll find that it is very, very easy. So these are what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do, my good students. I'm going to erase this. It's always very Mwalimu is always, or rather is always a kind of a very great feeling when you know your students have passed, right? It gives you a lot of morale to continue sharing this knowledge, and our classes are on. Those interested, you can always reach us out on the number below, not only for CASNEP, but so long as the videos or the concepts that you normally tend to post and you feel like you really need an assistance on something, of course you can always engage. For CPA classes, our classes are ongoing. You can select the package that suits you best. We have the one that you can study at your own time, pre-recorded version, and you have the live virtual classes. So depending on the package that will suit you best, you can always select either of them because both are very efficient, right? So in this case, preparing our loan amortization schedule, my good students, talk about our loan amortization schedule, loan amortization schedule, reducing balance, if I can write it like that. Reducing balance, which you know that we don't have much different actually compared to what we've been having. So at this point, of course, we start with our period. Our period, we can start with period 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're given 12 months, right? Balance, opening balance of the loan. Opening balance of the loan. So you're having opening balance of the loan. So in this year 0, basically you can have dash, dash, dash up to the last bit as closing, but no need of that. And that's why you'll find that Mwalimu will put dash on year 0 all through, so that at this point we can start our, if at all we are talking of reducing balance, I can start my value at 80,000. That was the loan amount, right? After the opening balance, of course, at this point, the next item, my good students, that you need to consider is our interest, right? And the interest, what are we given as our interest? 1.125%. 1.25%. 1.25%. Right? Then after interest, of course, we consider now our loan balance, right? We consider our loan balance in terms of what I'm supposed to pay. That is the kind of, if at all you can term it in another way, the total value of the loan that we are supposed to pay, which in this case you can term it as a loan balance, or maybe in a better language you can have it as amount due. Let me have as amount due so that it should not confuse you. I'll be having it as amount due, okay? Amount due. Then we have the payment now, payment, which ideally is on installment basis, which we had already established that. Then talk about our closing balance as at the end of the day, whereby you are talking of the remaining balance here. Talk of remaining balance. Talk of our remaining balance. So that at this point, in this case, remember year 1, I can have it all through 0, 0, 0, right? Year 0, sorry. So that at this point, my payment, we had already computed that as our payment. Recall the one that we had computed when we started, where we had 7,221. So basically in this case, I can, just to make sure that I'm on the right line, I'll be having, this is year, I start with year 1. I'll be having 72,221. This should be equal all through 72,221. Recall you had already computed this one, right? So 72,221 4, 72,221 5, 72,221 6, 72,221 7, 72,221 8, 72,221 9, 72,221 10, 72,221 11, 72,221 12, 72,221 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. Now, after we do have that case, consider our interest value, right? Interest value year 1, what will you be having? That will be simple. Why? It will be simple because this is what I'll be having. I'm going to have my 80,000 times 0.0125, which would give us a figure of 1,000. So that my amount due, I'm going to take opening balance plus interest to give us 81,000. And how much are we paying as installment? Installment, I'm paying 7,201. So 81,000 minus 7,221, this should give us a figure of 73,779, correct? So that should be our opening balance in year 2, 73,779. What is now the interest on that amount times 0.0125? This should give me a figure of 922 plus 73,779 to give us a figure of how much? 74,701 minus 7221 to give us how much? 67,000 here, 480. I believe my good students, you've gotten the series now. Should Mwalimu leave it for us to clear that bit? Should Mwalimu leave it for us to clear that bit? Take your time, try clear that bit, try clear that amount, try clear that. So that in this case, we should be having the next bit. That should be, of course, opening balance year 3 here, 67,480. Just repeat it like that, 67,480. you do the interest on that value, the interest on the value, of course you should be having 67,480.23 times 0.0125. That should give me 844, right? 844 plus 67,480. I'm having how much? 68. 324 minus 72 to 1. I'm having 61,102. 61,103 actually. In that case, Mwalimu will leave it for us to continue, or he'll say that Mwalimu should finish his work, right? Mwalimu afanye kazi yake. Mwalimu afanye kazi yake. Is that what you're going to say? I want you guys to try and see if at all you can clear that. If at all we can clear that. If at all you can clear that. If at all you can clear that. Because at this point you're talking of, that is of course 67,480. So you're having 67,480 plus 844, right? Minus 7,221. We're getting 61,103. So I'm giving you time to clear that, then you come back, then you come back, then you come back. Okay, so I believe you guys, you're achieving this. Check what Mwalimu has done and compare with what you've done. Check what Mwalimu has done and compare with what you've done. I believe that you are achieving this. So we are in period 11. We are in period 11. So period 11, basically, we are talking of now 14,349 minus 7,221. In this case, should give us 71,28, right? Come to 12. Period 12, therefore, I'll be having 71,28, right? 71,28, 71,28, 71,28 minus, or rather times, that is of course times 0.0125. This should give us 89. So amount due is 71,28 plus 89 to give us 72,17, and the payment is 72 to 1. So that as at the end of the day, this should give us a very insignificant value of 72.17 minus 72 to 1, which is basically 4. So therefore here I should be having what? I should be having 0. I should be having 0. So clearly you can see that reducing balance with the other method that we've been working out, where we normally consider the aspect of payment. We have interest on payment. We normally categorize it into the interest and the principal value, right? You'll find that if at all you use that method in this one, we still achieve the same thing. So here, the only item that is changing basically is the arrangement of how we are preparing our loan amortization. But the concept is just the same. The concept is just the same. So I believe I've answered that question. Majority of you guys have been asking Mwalimu to do a question of loan amortization with reducing balance. I believe right now is clear. I believe right now is clear. So to this point, guys, I wish to invite you to our classes, those who wish to join our classes. Of course, you can always reach us on the number indicated below this video, and you can always engage and have a conversation, see how we can assist each other, right? To that point, guys, again, thank you so much, my good students, for passing. You've made Mwalimu very, very proud. To that point, thank you so much, and let us meet in the next class. Thank you.